Hello, this is Mr. French back again, and welcome to Unit 7, Food and Drink. Now, I hope you've already eaten your lunch or dinner because you're going to be very hungry after this unit. Anyway, let's not waste too much time, and we're going to get started with Lesson 1. Now, we're going to look at vocabulary number 1. And we're going to match the words in blue to the numbers 1 through 10. Now let's do number 1 together. Number 1, of pasta, potato chips, salad, and rice. That one is a bag. Let's just do number 2 together. Of grapes and bananas. This one is bunch. Open your notebooks, grab a pen, and write down the answers for 3 through 10. Let's have about 40 seconds to finish this. Right, let's look at the answers. Number 3, tomatoes, tuna fish, and soda. Can. Number 4, chocolates and cereal. Box. Number 5, pizza, cheesecake, bread, slice. Number 6, sushi, toast, cake, fruit, and chocolate. Piece. Number 7, milk, fruit juice, ice cream, eggs. Carton. Number 8, soup and sugar. Bowl. Number 9, vinegar, soy sauce, water, olive oil. Bottle. Number 10, jam, coffee, honey. Jar. If you got 10 out of 10, that's a great job. But don't worry if you didn't, it's a little difficult. Now, for all food and drink, we can divide into 2 categories of count and non-count. Count just means we could say 1, 2, 3. So grapes we can count, right? We can say 1 grape, 2 grapes, 3 grapes, 4 grapes. Bananas we can count. Tomatoes we can count. The other food and drink is non-count, so we cannot count. For example, sushi. We cannot say 1 sushi, 2 sushis. Milk. We cannot say 1 milk, 2 milks, right? So we can divide all food into count and non-count. In this book, number 2, they call non-count uncountable and count countable, but I call them non-count and count. As you know so far, we can divide all food and drink into count and non-count. Now we're going to look at how to use these words: some, much, many, any, a little, lots of, and a few, with count and non-count nouns. So how do we know which to use in a correct sentence? Well, we can make a table to help us, and what you need to do is memorize the table, and then you will be able to use these items in a correct sentence. Take a look at the 2 boxes. We have there is and there isn't. Now there is we could call positive, and we make a sentence with there is with non-count food and drink. There isn't is negative, right? Not is not, so that's negative. And again, we could make a sentence with non-count food and drink. So there is and there isn't, both non-count. The next box, there are and there aren't. Well, there are is positive, and we use with count. Count food and drink. And there aren't is negative, and again we use this with count. So there are and there aren't, both use with count. Now take a look to the right of your screen, and there's a small box and it says example. I will use apples for my count example and milk as my non-count example. Now take a look at the blue table. The first word is some. Now, do you think it's possible to use some with count? So can I say some apples? Yeah, sounds right. Can I also use some with non-count? So can I say some milk? Yes, both is okay. So for some, I can make 2 sentences. Now, do I use some in a positive sentence or a negative sentence? Do I say there is some and there are some? Or do I say there isn't some and there aren't some? If you guessed only positive, you're correct. We can only use some in a positive sentence. So that means there is some and there are some. Number 2, much. Can I say much apples? Sounds wrong, right? Can I say much milk? Yes, I can. So that's non-count. Now, do I use much in a positive sentence? Can I say there is much? No. Can I say there isn't much? Yes. So I can say there isn't much with non-count. For example, there isn't much milk. Number 3, many. Do you think I can say many apples? Sounds good. Can I say many milk? So this one is only count. Now, is it positive or negative? Can I say there are many? or there aren't many? There are many or there aren't many? Well, both possible, but 95% of the time we use the negative. So we have to say there aren't many. Number 4, any. Can I say any apples? Yep. And can I say any milk? Also, yes. So this one is both count and non-count. Now, do I say there is any and there are any? Or do I say there isn't any and there aren't any? If you guessed only negative, you're correct. Number 5, a little. Can I say a little milk? Yes. Can I say a little apples? No. That sounds totally wrong. So in this case, it's only non-count is possible. Now, do I use positive or negative? Can I say there is a little or there isn't a little? Well, in this case, only positive is possible. Number 6, lots of apples. Yeah, sounds good, right? Lots of milk. Yep, both is okay to use with lots of. Now, could I say there isn't lots of and there aren't lots of? No, that doesn't sound right. So this one we could only use with positive. And finally, a few. Now we know a few means 3 or 4. So of course we can count. And now do I say there are a few or there aren't a few? Only positive, there are a few is possible. At the bottom of the page, I've given you an example about how to use some. So looking in the blue chart, we know we can make 2 sentences with some, right? We can make 1 count sentence and we can make 1 non-count sentence. For example, there are some apples. Count. There is some milk. Non-count. So for some, we can make 2 sentences, 1 count and 1 non-count. For much, we can see we can only make 1 sentence, non-count. For many, we can only make 1 sentence, count. For any, we can make 2 sentences, etc., etc. Now, we can answer the question, what's in your kitchen? Now you can keep looking back at this blue chart, and it's a good idea to take a photo or write this down into your notebook. So maybe now is a good time to pause the video and record this blue chart. It's going to be very useful to you. Now we're going to use there is, there isn't, and there are, there aren't, and we're going to make 7 sentences with some, much, many, any, a little, lots of, and a few. So as we know, with some, we can make 2 sentences. For example, there are some bananas, and that's count, and there is some soda, that's non-count. For much, we can see in the blue chart, we can only make 1 sentence, which is non-count negative. Non-count negative, there isn't much bread. So we know bread is non-count and isn't is negative. Example 3, many. many. Oh, we can only make one sentence, which is count negative. So there we go, negative count. There aren't many grapes. What I want you to do now is open your notebooks, and I want you to write the sentences for any, a little, lots of, and a few. You'll need to look back at this blue chart and the box where it says there is, there isn't, and there are, there aren't. You can write down any food that you want. Make them all different. Don't just say apples, milk, apples, milk, apples, milk. Choose a different food each time and write down your sentences for any, a little, lots of, and a few. And I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Okay, guys, let's look at the answers. Any, looking at the blue chart, we can see that we can make 2 sentences, one count and one non-count. But they both must be negative, right? So any, there aren't any, count. So there aren't any peaches, tomatoes, peanuts. You choose. And we can make one more. There isn't any, non-count. Soju, beer, milk, bread, rice, kimchi, anything non-count. So 2 sentences for any. A little, a little. Let's have a look back at the blue chart. A little, we can only make one sentence. And that one sentence is non-count positive. So, a little, there is a little, non-count. There is a little non-count. Water, soda, pasta. Lots of, let's go back to our blue chart. Lots of, oh look, we can make 2 sentences. And they're both positive. So that's 2 sentences, one count, one non-count, and they're both positive. So there is lots of, non-count, salad, rice. And there are lots of, count. So there are lots of carrots, peas, etc. Finally, a few. A few, let's go back to our blue chart. A few, we can only make one sentence, and that is count positive. So let's go to a few. There are a few, count. There are a few strawberries, for example. Okay. Now you may think, oh, this is a little bit difficult. Maybe you have a big headache. The thing to remember is if you memorize the blue chart, then it's going to make it much easier. Okay. Now, if you have any questions about this, you're very welcome to message me on Cybercampus, or you can send me an email. Okay. Now we're going to look at the next lesson. Don't worry, we're not going to study too much today. I have an assignment for you to do, so this video lecture will be maybe a little bit shorter than last time. Now, look at these delicious pizzas. Hungry? Me too. Now, there are 3 sentences we can make about this picture. Number 1, there is some pizza. Pizza is non-count. Number 2, there are 2 pizzas. And now we can count each pizza. There's one big pizza and another big pizza. So in this case, we can count. So we can add S to pizzas. Or we can count the slices. Slice, 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 slice. So number 3, there are lots of slices of pizza. Okay, so we can make 3 sentences just from the one food. Let's take a look at another example, which is water. Number 1, there is some water. Water is non-count. Or we can count bottles. 1, 2, 3. So we could say there are 3 bottles of water. One final example, which is jam. Number 1, there is lots of jam. The jam is non-count. But we can count the jars, so we can change it to count. There are lots of jars of jam. So here we are counting the jars. Take a look at this wonderful barbecue buffet. Now, what I want you to do next is open your notebooks. And the 3 foods are, number 1, cake. And I want you to write 2 sentences. 1 count, 1 non-count. Number 2, chicken. Again, 2 sentences, 1 count, 1 non-count. And ice cream. Again, 2 sentences, 1 count and 1 non-count. Write down your 6 sentences into your notebook, and I'm going to give you 1 minute. Now let's look at the answers on the next page. A cake. The count sentence is there are 2 cakes. There you go. You can see 1, 2. The non-count is there is lots of cake. Chicken. There are some pieces of chicken. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Those are called pieces. So that's our count sentence. And non-count, there is some chicken. Ice cream. There are lots of cartons of ice cream. You can see how many? 15. So 15, we could say lots of. That's our count sentence. And finally, non-count, there is lots of ice cream. Okay? Now, we're going to finish today's lesson here, but I would like to give you your assignment. What I would like you to do is write down the answers to the questions on page 47. Please answer in complete sentences. Then put your answers on the Cyber Campus in the assignments section, and you will have 1 week to complete this assignment. Now it's page 47. Like I said, I want you to answer the questions in full sentences. I'm going to give you 4 examples about the kind of style and how to answer. Okay. Number 1, what do you usually have for breakfast? Answer, I usually have cereal for breakfast. You can change your answer. This is just an example, okay? Please change it. Number 2, do you eat a lot of meat? Answer, yes, I do. I eat meat 4 times a week. Again, please change it for you. Number 3, when was the last time you ate sushi? Answer, the last time I ate sushi was 2 weeks ago. Again, change the answer for you. Let me give you one more example. How much soda do you drink? Answer, I usually drink 3 cans of soda a week. Okay, so that's just giving you some idea about how to answer those questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me a message on the Cyber Campus, or if you prefer, you can email me to mattkorea@gmail.com. That's mattkorea@gmail.com. We've finished for today. Have a wonderful day, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.